Hey guys, Kurt Hughes here with Ignite Baseball. I saw this video online the other day. Actually, it was like a couple months ago. And I was thinking about a way to communicate why we don't teach the scissor at Ignite Baseball. And I thought I'd show you the video first because it's really funny. So I'm just going to play it and show you what happens here. So this golfer is trying to golf on ice. He swings, his back foot slips, misses the ball, and he eats it and falls into the water. So bad day for this guy. But the thing that I wanted to illustrate here was what's happening right in this frame here. You can see the back foot really start to slip. And for me, this is why I don't teach the scissor at all, because when the body gets in this position, and when I say at all, I mean like I've taught it sometimes, and in special cases where kids can't decelerate their front side at all or decelerate their pelvis at all, I have been known to teach it, but it definitely is not something that I do frequently. So right here, what I'm diagramming is a hip hinge. So we can see that there's an angle created between the femur and the spine at the hip. I can't seem to get that to line up properly because I'm using my phone. But right there, and what we can see right here is the hamstring and the glutes on the backside are stretched and potentiated. So when the golfer goes to rotate and swing, what's happening is the back foot is trying to paw against the ground. I'll change colors. Is trying to paw their foot this way to bring their femur into alignment with their spine, which is the primary function of the glutes. So I'll do a different line with that. You'll see that happen in just a second. So I'll just draw it right there. And you're going to see as rotation starts, you're going to see that leg get pretty close to parallel with the spine right there, which is the hallmark of what the glute is really supposed to do. It's supposed to bring the hips from hinged to extension. So that's what we have here, okay? And maybe the reason why people that do teach scissor a lot can comment on this if they want, but maybe the reason why people teach scissors so frequently is that is the primary function of the glutes. Thus, if you want to use your glutes, you should scissor. But if you look here, when this athlete, or maybe he's an athlete, maybe he isn't, I don't know, when he tries to swing and his glute makes that movement, his foot really slides back. And the reason that is because the ground, which for him isn't the ground, it's ice, right? The friction that his foot's able to create with the ground is really minimal because he's on ice. But let's imagine that if it's a hitter or a golfer, and a hitter had cleats on and the golfer had golf shoes on and they're on a firm base, what you'd see happen here is instead of the foot sliding back, what would happen is the cleats or the cleats of the sneaker or of the cleats or the golf shoe would dig into the ground, and instead of the foot sliding back into a scissor pattern, what would happen, because every force is an equal and opposite force, the hip would slide rotationally like this. That was a really bad drawing. But the hip is going to go this way. And because the pelvis rotates the spine, or the spine rotates the pelvis, whatever you want to call it, doesn't really matter there. When the hip goes in this direction, which is the opposite of where this foot is going, what that's going to do is it's going to bring the hip forward, okay, creating rotation. Now, there are other muscles that govern rotation that happen above the belt as well, but the primary muscles that are happening below the belt that govern rotation are, extension of the hips, right? And that happens both on the backside early in the swing and the front side a little bit later in the swing in most cases. But right here we can see how that scissor is happening, right? But really the reason that scissor is happening is because there isn't friction there. If there was friction there, we'd have faster hip rotation in the beginning, which allows us to pass energy up the chain quicker. And what might happen in those cases is that hitter might not be able to slow down very well at the end of their swing, right? And you might see a little over rotation. But just because you're seeing over rotation when you first are starting to teach something, instead of stopping the body's primary function, which is, or one of the body's primary functions, which is to move, to utilize the glutes to move the hips into extension. Instead, we should just learn how to decelerate better on the front side. And I understand that the scissor and hitting out of a scissor or with your foot drop back like this is a way that you can learn how to decelerate the front or the pelvis better. But that doesn't mean that it's the primary thing that we should be doing all the time. I also agree that the pelvis should only rotate 90 degrees. An extra rotation of the pelvis delays acceleration of everything up above. That said, a 50-degree rotation of the pelvis where the hands shoot across their body, which we can kind of see this golfer doing right here. When I say the hands shooting across the body, I mean like they are crossing the chest. So instead of the chest continuing to rotate so we can use the muscles in our chest properly to then press the barrel out or press the golf club out, because those hips don't rotate and the chest doesn't rotate in the way they want to, it becomes a side swiping move, which creates a lot of slices in golf and creates a lot of weird side spin in baseball. So do we want to rotate our pelvis and our trunk 90 degrees? Yes. Do we want to rotate our pelvis 110 degrees? No. Do we want to stop our pelvis really efficiently so it does stop at 90 degrees? Yes. And do we want it to start slowing down a little bit before the 90-degree spot happens so everything else has a chance to accelerate? Yes. Does that mean that we should scissor to do that? No. Because the scissor is a product of loss of friction with the back foot, and that's not what we're aiming for.